Welcome to Sunrise Educational Publishing. Our aim is to empower literacy and learning. We envision a future where every child in Africa is a reader. Our mission is to make learning to read easy and exciting, and to inspire children in Africa and beyond through reading stories relevant to their environment. You can learn more by clicking on our link sunriseliteracy.com. In the previous video, we discussed how we have to be prepared, how we have to know the material ourselves, and how we have to make our flashcards, and how we start the introduction of the book. I did not use the word author or illustrator when I was talking about the people who wrote or illustrated the book. You should really introduce that, but I noticed I didn't. It can come up again and again as the children learn from repetition. So what have we got planned for day 1, part 2? I'm going to tell you how I actually introduce the book to the children. I'm going to demonstrate that with a few teaching points and how I introduced the very first words. Let's get it going. Right, so now we've opened up the book. And we're opening up this magic of a wonderland of learning to read that the children will love. Okay, so here we have our book, Friends, and we're saying to the children, wonder what's inside. It's a wonderland of adventure, and we're going to do it with our friends. Do you know what our friends' names are? I'm going to show you. And you open it up and go, oh, there he is. That's Tatenda. And you let the children look at it. And you talk about the different things they can see in the picture. Wow, what sort of toys can you see? Because this is literacy as well, isn't it? It's helping them to talk. Yes. And how many? Oh, I see a wire car. Do you know, when I was little, the only cars my brothers had were those wire cars. They were made by the man who worked in our garden. It was very, very nice. So this boy's name is Tatenda. Can you see Tatenda? Can you say Tatenda? So they all get to say Tatenda. So if it's foreign to you, it seems hard. But if it's from your country, obviously it's a Zimbabwean name, and I've seen it in Zambian names as well. It means thank you. But it sounds foreign, maybe if you're English or if you're Chinese or if you're Portuguese. So get them to say the word Tatenda, Tatenda, Tatenda many times. And make it fun. Don't just say Tatenda, Tatenda, again, Tatenda, again. No. Make it fun. Say, who's this boy? Who knows his name? Good. Tatenda. What were you going to say? Tatenda. And you get them to say the name by different activities. That's good. So that's Tatenda. And it looks like he's in his bedroom, doesn't it? How many of you have your own bedroom? You have little conversations like this. There we go. And on this page. So do you see, I don't really want to be folding the book back like that, because that's bad use for the book. So I would talk about that at this point. For me on the video, it would be very nice to be able to turn the book back. That's why I say maybe if you have printables of these pictures available, it's good to use them, because then you can talk about them. All right. So over here, we have David. He's also in his bedroom. Do you see that? He's also in his bedroom. That's good, right? And can you see his toys? Are they the same? Do you think those friends would like going to each other's house? Probably. And then the last picture I'm going to show you today, I'm not going to show you all of the book, is David and Tatenda together. Yeah? Very nice, isn't it? Now, who would like to be able to read their book? Now, this book has only a few words. I can teach you today how to read those words. Now, it's not the same as learning your sounds. These words are called memory words or sight words, or I call them photograph words, because you need to take a photograph with your eyes, Put it into your memory on your computer. Your head is your computer. Your brain is much better than any computer that the world's ever made. Do you know that? Better than an iPhone, better than an iPad, better than an iOS computer or a Windows computer. It's the best. Okay, so you've got the capability of putting it into your computer, and then when you want to, it comes out of your memory. So today I am going to teach you a word, a word that is in this book. That's right. And here it is. Have a look at it. Now, what do these two circles look like to you? I'm going to give you a clue. And at that point, I would draw in the eyeballs. Eyes. And what do you do with your eyes? You look. Now, this word says look. And if we want to read, we need to look and learn. Look and learn. Now, sometimes the look, the L changes, so we can have it like that. Or sometimes there's a stick on the end so he doesn't fall over. Yeah, keep them. Maybe like glasses, it's holding his glasses on. Can you see that? Right, so there can be two different ways of writing look. Look. Have a look at it. It's got two long lines on the edges and two eyes in the middle, just like glasses. Now, in my class, I would combine this with an art lesson and make them use binoculars and toilet rolls, make binoculars, put the string on, and on the one side, tie like with a bow, so that it looks like a K sticking out. All right. And that is a good activity to reinforce the word look. I would then display it on the board at in my classroom or in the windows, and I would write the word look, look, look 3 times. I would start with the capital letter, put a comma, then look, look. And then the children can see how written word relates to spoken word. So I always start with look because it's very graphic and it helps me teach the children to look and learn. Now, the next word, who can guess what the next word will be? Who is the first boy we saw? Who can remember his name? Tatenda. Good. Tatenda. Now, when we use these words, we're not going to be using our sounds. We're not going to go p, at, pat. That's a good way of learning words. But these words, you don't really do that. They disobey the rules. That's what reading does sometimes. It makes its own language and uses its sounds any way it likes. Makes it a little bit tricky. But if we always taking photographs, putting it in our memory, when we need it, it'll come out. So I'm going to show you the way that we write Tatenda. There it is, Tatenda. You can see at the very beginning is a big T. That's because it's his name. And we always use a big letter, capital letter, when it's someone's name. Now I'm going to show you something that will help you remember that this is Tatenda. Now at this point, I'm going to stand up and I'll show you. I would write on the blackboard because it would be much bigger than on a piece of paper. And I don't really want to put it onto my flashcard because eventually you want the children remembering without all the clutter around it. Okay, so can you see up here on my blackboard, I've written Tatenda. Now, when I'm teaching the children, it's a bit difficult for me to sort of be in the picture and show you. When I'm teaching the children, we look at the shape. Tatenda is quite a long word, isn't it? It's taking quite a lot of space going along. Now, remember when we're reading, we always start on the left. We always start on the left. So I'm going to go around this word, Tatenda. Oh, the bottom is just straight. Do you see that? Like it's on a road. Now I'm going to go up because it's straight here, a little bit curly. Whoa, up it goes, across, not so high, in around, up, straight across, and down again. There we go. Can you see the shape of Tatenda? At this point, I would say, does it remind you of a shape? The children have wild imaginations. Some of them will say it looks like a train, if they've seen a train like that, or they might say it looks like a bed. If it's reasonable, accept it. If it's silly, let them know they're being a bit silly. That's Tatenda. So have a look at it. 1, 2, 3 lumps on the top, but the bottom is all the same. So the very beginning, we're teaching them how to even look at the shape. And what's this word? Tatenda. Very good. Susie, can you say Tatenda? Tatenda. What about you, Mfazo? Tatenda. Very good. Vutahawe? Tatenda. So they can all be saying their names, the word, and they're hearing it over and over again, because obviously repetition is the key to memory. Now, who remembers who's Tatenda's friend? Yes, David. There he is, David. Now, this is the way you write and read David. Remember, we're always going to start on this side here. David. David. You got it? Good job, David. Now, let's see the shape of David. So again, I would write it. Can you see it if I put it up there? I would write it on the board quite big. All right. If the children are responsible, or if you know them well, you could get a child to draw around it. But this is our very first lesson. So we are demonstrating what we want in the future. So I would actually write it myself. Okay. David. What do you notice about that word? Yes, it's got a very fat number, a letter at the beginning. That's a D for David. So also when you as a teacher, remember to always start on the left. Don't start up here and go around. Remember, we're training the brain. We're training the brain. So start over here. Oh, look, David also sits just on a straight line, just like Tatenda's. There's no lumps and bumps underneath, are there? Then we go up. There's, oh, and straight away we go big. And down. Oh, look, here's a little pimple. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go down here because that makes it interesting. Okay, and it helps children to actually notice the shapes that they have. That word says what? David. Does it remind you of anything? Maybe it could be a tractor. Yeah, this could be a wheel here. This could be a wheel here. David. David. Can you say that? David. Here we go. David. Any Davids? How many of you know somebody called David? And you would ask just to get the words coming out. Now, my son wasn't good at names, and he knew that David had a brother called Michael. And for some reason, he associated it, and he would stall on this and go, Michael, you know, it's David, because he didn't know his phonics yet. Now, nowadays, children are learning their phonics before they come to grade 1. So he will already know that that's a D for David. D, D, David, t, 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 that is as far as you would take your phonics at this stage. If they haven't learned it, I still assume they haven't learned it, and I'm going to review it because maybe their moms or their other teacher didn't teach it properly and they go da, da, da instead of I'm a bit neurotic like that. So still make sure that you're introducing it like that. That's very, very good. Now I am going to show you something very clever. I'm going to take my press-stick off here because I haven't got a lot and we don't want to make a big mess of our blackboarders, do we? So I am going to write 2 things on the, can you see? I live in a very hot place. Now, when we start a story, we always start with a capital letter. So I'm going to start with this one. Okay. Who can tell me what that word says? Who remembers? Look, good. And now we're going to put that there. I've made a sentence. I've made a little story. Look, David. Remember, a sentence has to make sense. It tells somebody or something to do something. So look, David. And is David all by himself? No, he isn't. So what do you think I'm going to put now? Look. Who else should look? Tatinda. So I've actually written a long sentence. Look, David. Look, Tatinda. And that means that I can read in my book already. Not quite. Tomorrow, I'm going to teach you one more word. So you keep them sort of hanging on like a serial story where you leave them hanging and they're longing to find out what the next word is for next time. As it turns out, I haven't taught and yet. But I find that teaching 3 words keeps them interested, but it's not overpowering. Today is the first day. They won't ever forget these because they pay very special attention on the first day. And it's a fun day for you. Have a lot of energy in yourself. Use your body, use your voice, use your eyes, use the children's animation to get energy in there. So that would be my very first day of doing a reading lesson. Probably takes about 20 minutes. That's what I gauge my lessons on because their concentration span isn't great and you want to maximize it. I also do it quite early in the morning. So you would have your circle time, your prayers, or your whatever you do in the morning. Registration. My children come on a bus and some of them sit on the bus for an hour. So we always do a bit of jump up and down songs just to get the blood going and the mind working. All right, so then after that, I would again repeat, let's read this together. Look, David, look, Tatinda, leave it on the board and then find the next activity. Usually I would maybe be doing the binoculars or I would have a picture with the word David under and ask them to color David and others to color Tatinda so that they can be really reinforcing that. And that would be the end of day 1. And I hope that you're very excited about this. That's it for today.